So hello and welcome to our program today on transportation solutions. I am Libby Kennard with Parkinson's Resources of Oregon. And with me today is also my coworker, Nia Jones. And we have two speakers, Walker Faison and Beth Brooks. And I'll introduce them in just a moment. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Parkinson's Resources. So we're a nonprofit serving Oregon and Southwest Washington. We have helpline services, counseling, case management, and education and wellness programs like this one, and lots of support groups. We do all of this with a small but mighty team, and we do it without asking for payment. What we provide that no one else does is local, personal, and direct services. We're also here for anyone who's touched by Parkinson's disease, you, your partner, your family, and concerned friends, and also other professionals. Connect with us to receive updates about upcoming programs like the ones you see here on this slide. So 2 years into the pandemic, we're now pretty familiar with virtual programs. At PRO, we kept up our support groups and made many outgoing calls to check in on our clients and to address social isolation concerns. Thank goodness we're slowly returning to in-person programs, and we'll continue to utilize virtual programs when it's advantageous. I want to thank our sponsors. Their financial support helps us provide programs like this. And now we'll get started. So there we go. So we've become so used to the convenience of jumping in our cars and just going, right? Driving's a privilege we take for granted, but there are other ways of getting around. The situation you're faced with if you stop driving is that loss of independence and having to rely on family and friends for rides, or you figure out what the alternatives are. Maybe you've looked at adaptive or motorized bikes, knowing that exercise is medicine. With Parkinson's disease, some do find that bikes and adaptive cycles provide freedom and independence that they're needing. And we do have some programs and have had some programs in the past about helping people find more out about that. Some of the advantages to living in town is that you'll find bike paths, public transportation, and walkable neighborhood conveniences that you might not have in rural areas. And while the pandemic changed so much about the way we shop, so that we can order ahead and pick it up at the door for convenience or have it delivered directly to us at home, there still are needs for social outings, right? And all our medical appointments can't be telehealth. So today we'll learn about different services like some door-to-door services, public transit training, and how to find these services in your area. And even though the programs we're talking about today mention some specific services that have limited coverage areas, we will give you resources to help you find what's available where you live. So our first speaker is Walker Faison with Ride Connection, where he's the development and marketing manager. He has years of direct experience in the field of transportation, working mostly as the safety manager for a non-emergency medical transportation company and as an emergency medical technician for several years prior to that. He is also a benefit auctioneer. I hope you won't talk too fast for us today. A PSU alumnus, and he loves dogs, comic books, and NBA basketball in no particular order. He's thrilled to be part of this program and hopes the services offered by Ride Connection can be a resource to members of this community. All right, welcome, Walker.
Thank you so much. I am absolutely delighted to be here and to share the services that we can offer, and hopefully will be of use to some folks, either in this meeting now or reviewing it later. So I am going to share my screen. I have a little PowerPoint. Get that going. Can everybody see that? Is that coming up okay?
Yes.
Drag. Yeah. So, who is Ride Connection? Our slogan is meeting community transportation needs one person at a time. And as that implies, our ethos is very much to try to provide specific plans and options for each individual person as they try to meet their transportation needs. And of course, that's going to vary a lot depending on their circumstances. We're a nonprofit private organization, and we provide free transportation options primarily for people over 60 and people with disabilities in the Portland metro area. If you do live in the general area, that extends out to Washington County, rural Multnomah County, and into Clackamas as well. So it's Portland and its outlying areas. We work with a network of service providers, and we provide vital services that strengthen our region's current transportation system. We've been around for over 30 years, and we offer safe and reliable transportations for individuals in Clackamas, Multnomah, and Washington counties. Next slide is a big old web of services. And as you can see, it gives you a sense of the wide variety of the kinds of services we provide within the Portland metro region. And I will go into these in more detail.
Walker, let me interrupt you for a second. What we're seeing is the main slide program. If you are showing your actual slideshow, we're not seeing that. So they're not changing.
Did that do it?
Yes, very good.
Sorry, yeah, wrong screen. Can everyone see the web now of services? Great. Yeah, I'll go into some more detail on these individually, and also if there's anything that I don't cover, I'm happy to answer any questions that I can during the Q&A. But I'll list off some of these. All of our services are free. That's worth emphasizing again. So for anyone who needs these services, I encourage you to reach out, and I'm confident there's going to be a service that can be helpful to you as you navigate transportation options. For example, we do have one-on-one training. So if someone, it's called the Ridewise travel training program. If you're not familiar with using public transportation, or your circumstances have changed, maybe you're not comfortable using public transportation with a new mobility device, for example, we have folks with years of experience that will help plot particular routes, if there are regular places you need to go, grocery store, for example, and work out what route is going to be the quickest and most effective, and they will ride along with you. Another program that we're starting to offer more of is the Ride Together program, and that's mileage reimbursement. And what's cool about that is often, the people that we rely on for transportation most frequently are friends and family, and they do it because they care about the person they're giving a ride to. But if they are, gas prices for many reasons are going up lately. If they're unable to continue doing that, that can be a barrier, and we offer mileage reimbursement for folks that are providing transportation to members of their community. I will circle back, but we believe that transportation is an essential human need. Activities of daily living are predicated on whether a person has access to transportation, and it can be a defining factor whether for an older adult or a person with a disability is able to remain in their own living environment or has to move into a restrictive living environment. Access to transportation results in mobility. Mobility opens doors, allows a person to be independent, and offers ways to access life's essentials, including healthcare, nutrition, and social interaction. Our vision is create independence and community connections through access to mobility. We try to be a lifeline as much as possible. And what I'd like to emphasize there, and we'll get into this in more detail, but often transportation for folks with disabilities tends to focus on medical transportation. And of course, that is extremely important. I don't mean to undervalue that. And that's a huge part of what we do. We operate actually the NEMT, or non-emergency medical transportation contract, for Multnomah County. But we also think it's just as important for people to be able to get to the places they want to go as much as the places they need to go. So our door-to-door service, which, I'll get into in more detail, but is essentially, it's pretty straightforward. We have volunteer and professional drivers. If you call and schedule it, we do need a couple of days in advance, but our drivers will take you anywhere you need to go. It can be the church, or it can be to the grocery store. It can be to see a friend, because that's the key part of having agency. And in a society that requires transportation, just the way we've sort of structured things in the layouts of our cities, we believe everybody deserves access to the day-to-day things that make life more fun and worthwhile. So yeah, part of our service is information and referral. If you call in and share your needs, we'll help you come up with a plan. And then we do have those door-to-door rides. So we have vehicles with different capacities depending on people's mobility situations, and we will take you anywhere you need to go within our service area. We have the travel training, which I've mentioned, which is directed towards helping people get comfortable with public transportation. And we also do offer community shuttles and community connectors, which are larger shuttle buses, some with fixed routes, others that have deviated routes, and those are actually open to the public. They're open to anyone who needs a ride, and they function particularly in rural or harder to reach areas and connect folks with the public transportation system. So, if you're in a rural part of Washington County, for example, or out in Forest Grove, and you want to connect to the public transportation system, you can call, and the shuttle bus, not terribly unlike, honestly, an airport shuttle bus, although I like to think our drivers tend to be friendlier on average, where they will have there's a fixed route, and they will deviate and come and pick folks up and connect them to the broader transportation system. Yeah, everyone's needs are different. We have a variety of services, and they're meant to cater to each customer. That flexibility is the key to fulfilling Ride Connection's mission and removing barriers so our customers can maintain their independence and access essential needs. Yeah, so like I said, there's an information and referral program. We have travel options counselors, and that's the primary point of contact. If you call into Ride Connection, that's the first person you're going to speak to. So all new customers will speak to our travel options counselors, and that's going to ensure that we're directing you to the most appropriate service in the region to meet your needs. Each counseling session consists of a series of open-ended questions designed to facilitate dialogue and reach a good outcome. And our hope is always to uncover, the true nature of the needs, abilities, and mobility goals for each customer served, to make sure that it's targeted and specific to what you need and want. And yeah, I've already referenced this, but our door-to-door service provides older adults and folks with disabilities rides from their residence to their destination and back. And they can be requested for any purpose: medical appointments, food services, social services, work, and social visits. Volunteer and paid drivers help us provide door-to-door and sometimes door-through-door service to those who need it. Customers call our service center to schedule rides. We do like to have that at least 4 days in advance. And in a typical year, we provide about 500,000 individual rides. We also have special programs. They're Veterans Helping Veterans. It's a program that helps veterans and their families gain access to transportation by recruiting volunteer drivers who are veterans themselves. And we also have the Ride Together mileage reimbursement program that I've mentioned. So, if you have a family member who's driving you every day and it's, starting to impact them financially, we can arrange so that they are reimbursed per mile for all the service that they're doing. Travel training is the one-on-one training service to help people access the fixed route system. So participants are paired with a travel trainer, and they will offer them personalized training, educating them on local transportation options and developing a route specific to their desired destination. Trainers help folks practice these routes so they can get to their destination with confidence. In non-COVID times, we also have ride ambassadors who will lead groups on transit. Sometimes it'll be, we also, in this case, will work with like younger high school students or any group of people that's really using public transportation for the first time. And those tend to look like field trips, which can, be sort of a cocktail hour, depending, not for the high school students, but for folks in senior communities. And I'm, cautiously optimistic that in the future we'll be able to get that program, up and running the way we have in the past. We also have a Fair Relief program, and that links organizations serving low-income populations with free transit fare. So yeah, these the community and grocery shopping shuttles. These are grouped rides. They enable us to provide service to a larger number of people at one time based on community needs. The shuttles are efficient for us. They're a great social outlet for our customers. Again, all of these things become a little less fun during COVID, but these rides are primarily used for grocery shopping and getting to meal sites. Riders on our community shuttles often talk about how much they enjoy getting out and socializing with fellow passengers. And some of those trips are recreation based. The photo on the right is from a trip a few summers ago to the Rainbow Trout Farm in Troutdale, where a few people experienced their first catch. That was a really big fish. Well, two really big fish. So I've been a fisherman myself, but I'm still impressed. The community connectors, like I said, they offer connections in rural areas, so rural Washington County, Forest Grove, Tualatin, King City, and North Hillsborough. They connect residents with local grocery stores, community hubs, and perhaps most importantly, public transportation stations. Residents can arrange for an off-route pickup or drop-off within a half-mile of the route. For instance, Grove Link, which was our first connector, serves people who live on the western side of Forest Grove and connects them with locations within Forest Grove, as well as public transit bus lines. Other connectors include Westlink, that operates in rural western Washington County, linking riders with Banks, North Plains, Forest Grove, and the Hillsborough Transit Center. North Hillsborough Link mostly serves commuters traveling to jobs in North Portland via the Orenco station, and Tualatin Shuttle links commuters who work within Tualatin from the WES station, and actually is going to be expanding its service area soon. We have over 30 partners in the region that helps us fulfill the mission. So we work with a lot of different medical transportation companies and nonprofits who provide transportation services to older adults and people with disabilities. That is enabling us to coordinate services in the whole Tri-County area. Coordination helps us keep costs lower, prevents duplication of service. We support those partners with call center support, funding, vehicles, and maintenance, volunteer recruitment, and so on. It's worth mentioning that we can't do what we do without our volunteers. They are amazing, and they are many of the drivers that will show up for door-to-door service. They're the heart of the organization. Not only do they help by providing that service, but we count on them to bring passion and heart to the job, offering a level of warmth and friendliness that I think is essential to what we're doing. This is just a quote from a customer. I won't read it aloud because I'm sure everyone can read it just fine for themselves, but it's why we're so passionate about providing the services that we do. And I believe we can be an access point to reliable transportation, which then can be a connector to the other things in life that make it so fun to be a human being sometimes. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed getting to know a little bit about Ride Connection and our programs and services. I would encourage anyone, if there's something I haven't covered, again, I'm happy to answer any questions in the Q&A. And if there's anything I don't know, I would encourage you to reach out and speak with our travel counselors, because they're going to be pretty resourceful as a rule. And anyone who thinks they might need the service, I would encourage you to reach out.
Thank you, Walker. That's amazing. You guys have so many different programs that you provide. I had no idea. So that's fabulous. I know that we have some of that with the LTD service here in Eugene area for learning to use the bus and traveling with someone who helps you get familiar with it. And then we have the ride source that provides the medical transportation. Certainly not as extensive. And it sounds like the best thing to do is just to call and talk to one of those lovely persons who's going to understand your needs and be able to find the exact ride or program that fits that person. That's great. Our next speaker is Beth Brooks with Lane Senior Companion Program. She's the director there, and she has a background in education and nonprofits. And I'll let you take it away, Beth.
Thank you. I'm going to try to share my screen.
And then the same thing if you're going to do the slides.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay.
I'm new here, so excuse me.
You're getting it.
Okay. Is that good?
That's perfect.
Okay. So as she said, my name is Beth Brooks, and I am with the Senior Companion Program of Lane County. And I know that not all of you live in Lane County. Our service area is restricted to that, but there are senior companion programs in almost every county in Oregon. So if this seems like something that you're interested in, you can contact your local area agency on aging, and they will be able to point you in the right direction. So the Senior Companion Program is a little bit different than what RideSource offers, in that along with rides, we provide companionship. So if someone becomes a client of one of our senior companions that are also volunteers, then that companion spends time with them every single week. And it is almost like a work schedule in and of, you know what time they're going to come and what day of the week they're going to come, which makes it easier to schedule appointments, plan for shopping trips, things like that. So, and also, in addition to having a little more flexibility on mobility, also pursue common interests, things you like to do. I have companions that are experts on thrift shopping, some that are experts in areas that are wonderful to go. Okay, I don't know how to go back. I apologize. Yep, okay, we're just gonna go through the whole thing. Okay, so the goal of the program is to help seniors and people with disabilities live as independently as possible. And as Walker said, oftentimes transportation gets to be the stumbling block for that. 90% of our companions, and when we're not living with COVID, we operate anywhere between 60 and 70 companions. 90% of our companions serve clients that are living in their own homes, and they provide transportation and, as I said, companionship. Also, we have about 10% of our companions. We're hoping to expand that, serving as respite care for family care providers. It takes a very special situation, but we have found many of them that are very rewarding for the volunteers that we have in our program, because it allows that family caregiver time to do the things that they need to do to maintain their household, but also have a little breathing room, which is helpful. Okay, we are a federally grant-funded program. Locally here, we're sponsored by Lane Community College. So they provide us support services and also make sure that we're following federal guidelines. We also have to generate a certain percentage of funds locally. That does not come from our client base, and it does not come from our volunteer base. That is something that we do on our own, so that this is a free service to people that need it. Some of this is more about the companions. Our companions, just so you know, they're 55 or better. They're required to pass a federal background screening. They volunteer a minimum of 15 hours a week. And we train them for 40 hours before they ever go into anyone's home. And when they do go into someone's home, they shadow with another companion that has been in service for quite a while. So you're getting someone that has experience, that has training, and we do ongoing training once a month for 4 hours. They do, if they qualify as low income or volunteers, they do receive a stipend from the federal government and also a reimbursement for mileage, which helps more of them serve, which is very valuable for the community. We partner with, as do all the programs that senior companions run throughout the United States, we partner with agencies who serve the same population we're looking to help. We have expanded this a little bit during COVID. Our new emphasis, as many of us experienced during COVID restrictions, social isolation is a huge factor in people's lives. It's not good for health, it's not good for mental health. So one of the main focuses of our program, in addition to transportation, is helping to reduce some of that social isolation. So a lot of times transportation can do that because clients can get to groups that they want to go to. They can get to, here they call them the lunch bunch, which operate out of senior centers. But there's a lot of other groups that people have access to once they have access to transportation. So the whole point of this is that it's supposed to be a win-win-win for everyone involved in that. The companion has a purpose and they love serving and they love their clients. And the client gets freedom and flexibility in terms of transportation, and the family gets a little break, which I know just in my own family with my parents, they don't want to ask for rides places because they feel like they're imposing. It's much easier, it seems, and again, just for my situation, if it's someone outside the family, that relationship is established as a transportation relationship. So this is just the statistics on social isolation, which happens to all of us as we age. And there's so much research now about how detrimental it is. And I was hoping that part of the COVID experience would be people having more compassion and understanding about the impacts that has on people with disabilities, people with diseases, people in the aging population that experience that, some of them every day. So this again is a testament that comes from the National Project sponsor. We are, just in case you want to do a little more research, we fall under AmeriCorps, and our branch of it is called AmeriCorps Seniors. So I kept the statistics from July 2018 through 2019 because it's been a little strange. Data collection is hard, service looks a little different right now. So we had 59 companions serving. They served 26,900 hours. And with that, they had weekly visits with 446 seniors and people with disabilities. And that includes the respite care. So a few people can have a very large impact. And I included the mileage information because it just shows that they do not mind taking people anywhere they need to go. So 86,000 miles in a year. Oh, in half a year, I'm sorry. In our clients, 90% of them reported perceived increases in social support, and the companions, 92 of them reported perceived increases in social support and interaction. And a lot of times, and it depends on everyone's personality, if you want to benefit from these services, it can be strictly transportation. If you want to develop a friendship, it often turns into that too, but you get to decide what that looks like. Here's more testimonials from both sides of things. And then just, this is the information, again, just for our county. That is our office phone number. expect to leave a voicemail because we're still working remotely. There is more information on the Lane website, so the link is listed there. And here in town, we have what's called the Aging and Disability Resource Connection, and they operate out of the Area Agency on Aging. I always have a very hard time with that, the AAA. And they are a clearinghouse for all of the services that are offered and that are available to people. So I would suggest that if you're interested in any kind of services, whether it's private pay or volunteer, if you call that the AAA in your area, they are a wealth of knowledge about what's available. I also know, and it's in conjunction with what Watker was talking about, some of our companions double as medical transport. So for people that can't get to medical appointments, they will drive them to the medical appointments. And that is more flexible than just being a senior companion, because you need to go when you need to go, and they get reimbursed for mileage for that. So there will be something similar in your area. And that is what I have.
Well, thanks, Beth. That was great. It's such a valuable program. And I know that there are similar programs in other places. So you will get a copy of these slides and some additional handouts so that you can go back over that. And then I wanted to just share a little bit more about an aspect of travel that we haven't really talked about, and go back to my slides. And get them progressing. Okay. So we haven't really talked a whole lot about how to travel between cities, although you talked, Walker, about the connectors and stuff like that. But how do you do that across Oregon, or how do you take a bigger trip in regard to not driving, or in regard more specifically to Parkinson's disease? So we have this as a handout for you. I'm not expecting that you can read this. It's just a peek of what we're going to send you. This is advice that Michael J. Fox Foundation collected from others with Parkinson's about travel when you're going to be away from home for more than a few days. And some of the situations you want to avoid are running out of your medications or getting off your schedule with your medications, because you know that we always say on time, every time with Parkinson's meds. And also just getting off your routine, including your sleep routine. Those are important things to try and focus on as you're planning a longer trip. And also know that you probably don't have the same stamina you had when you were 20 years old. So, plan for that. Plan some rest time and prepare way in advance. Consider using a travel service that actually specializes in accessible travel. Here are some websites for that. Request extra assistance to get through the airport. So even if you don't normally use a wheelchair, it's worth it to go ahead and request that for air travel, because it's your fast track to getting to your gate on time. And then planning for that type of travel where people are taking your extra luggage from you, put your medications in your carry-on luggage so that they're always with you in case your luggage gets somewhere different than where you are going. Plan to carry a medication list on your person and an emergency phone list. Some people get a doctor's note, but you also could think about wearing a medical alert bracelet or carrying a medical alert card in your wallet. And if I didn't already say, have your medications with you in your carry-on. Then the other info I had, this is additional information for Oregon about local transit that connects between cities. So you'll get that handout. And, okay. So this is a great checklist. So this checklist, as you can see, is not ours. It was created by the Aging and Disability Resource Connection, which Beth referenced. This is a transportation checklist. This is just the first page I'm showing you here. So if you're needing to do some research about what's available in your area, because maybe you're not in the Tri-County area that Ride Connection serves, then you can use this to kind of go through and ask the questions to make sure that the service is going to meet your particular needs, your budget, and the location that you're in. So, and as Beth said, I created a slide just for ADRC because they really are the first place to call when you need any kind of services in your area. To find out what kind of medical transportation services are available or what types of services that compare to the Senior Companion Program and caregiver resources. So you can call this number, 855-673-2372 for Oregon, and they'll tell you the contact information for your county. And also, if you are watching from out of state, you also can call this number and they'll help you find the ADRC where you are. So this ends the formal program, and we're going to open up for questions. I'm going to stop recording at this point.